Greetings, free thinkers. Welcome to the Hoggcast. How are you doing today? I hope you're doing fine. I certainly am. Okay, the filibuster of the United States. This is now the thing that is under attack. Now, we have today one clip to go over in which the radical left and the Democrats and their allies in the mainstream media are feeding the idea and the institution of the filibuster through the only lens they ever feed anything through. You see, they want to get rid of it. So they're now, all of a sudden, they're making the case that the filibuster is actually white supremacy. That spectre, that label, that Star of David that they apply to everything they don't like, so they can just bulldoze it out the way to get their way, which is what they always do. Now, we have this clip that they're going to go over this. This is on MSNBC. The talking heads there are going to try and convince the pros that it is and that it needs to go, because, hey, who wouldn't want to oppose white supremacy, right? You must be a bad person if you don't oppose it. Then after we've watched this clip, of course, I'll give you my 2 cents worth. But after that, we will go and look at the article that gives you the definition of what the filibuster is. And then we'll understand why they're trying to remove it. So let's get into this now. But if you haven't yet, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and subscribe to the... Sorry, share the video. Yeah, I've already said subscribe, haven't I? I think I did, didn't I? Share the video, yeah. I'd love to see you join this small but hopefully growing community of ours. Okay, let's go. Okay, so let's check this clip out, and I apologise for the MSNBC host. He is one of the most unsufferable people God ever put life into.
Now, in response to the prospect of losing the filibuster, Mitch McConnell has been threatening to go bonkers, right? To lay waste to...
Sorry to interrupt, but the glasses and the nose, it looks like one of them joke glasses and noses, doesn't it?
The Senate, making it so that nothing can be passed. Everything would grind to a halt. It would be a non-functional body. And one of the things he's trying to counter is the notion the filibuster has fundamentally been used as an institution to preserve white supremacy in America. You know, Barack Obama pointedly made this argument last year at the funeral for civil rights icon John Lewis when he called for equal representation of all Americans.
And if all this takes eliminating the filibuster, another Jim Crow relic, in order to secure the God-given rights of every American, then that's what we should do.
Another Jim Crow relic. Not mincing words there. So then, yes.
Let me tell you what else is a Jim Crow relic. The Democrat Party. And,
Yesterday, when Mitch McConnell was asked about the historical use of the filibuster to suppress black votes, he said this.
It has no racial history at all. None. So there's no dispute among historians about that.
That's a bald-faced lie, as bald-faced lies anything Donald Trump has said. McConnell's spokesman later claimed the minority...
The only person who is issuing bold-faced lies is this guy here, the most unsufferable of talking heads. I often wonder what it takes to be a mainstream media journalist. You have to be a certain caliber of person to be able to look someone in the eye and lie to them. And it's worse, you look someone in the eye, lying to them, and then you call them a liar when you know you are lying yourself. To do that takes a special kind of person. I don't think you could do that at home watching this. I certainly couldn't do it. You have to be a certain type of person.
Leader was referring to the origins of the Senate filibuster when he made that comment as opposed to its actual use, which he certainly didn't seem to be. Now, the origins of the filibuster are, in fact, kind of random, almost accidental. They involve Aaron Burr, the guy who shot Hamilton, and a ruling on an obscure bit of Senate procedure. The actual use of the filibuster, as it's developed, has been, almost more than anything, a tool of the white supremacist South and a cudgel to block civil rights. Starting with one of the great villains of American history, John C. Calhoun, who first realized it could be used to preserve the power of the slave states. 1920.
we don't have slavery anymore. We haven't had for a very long time. Why are you talking about this? Why are you bringing this up? Really? Of course, that's a rhetorical question. You know it and I know it. You want to use it yourself as a cudgel. You are using your accusations of white supremacy as a cudgel. You don't want anyone to question you. You don't want anyone to disagree with you. Your logic and reasoning is, if someone was to disagree with you or to go against what you're saying, they then must be in support of white supremacy. So you ram this through like you do with everything, stating that this has to do with white supremacy, that has to do with white supremacy, this, that, and the other, and so on and so on. You notice how in schools they no longer teach children nursery rhymes that have morals, right? This is where the phrase "the moral of the story" comes from, and one that I always remember when I was a kid is the boy who cried wolf. For those of you that probably haven't heard it, I'm sure all of you have. A quick recap. There's a boy who says, "Look, over there, there's a wolf." Or in other words, white supremacy. And there wasn't actually any there. He was lying, right? And then he says, "Over there, look, there's a wolf." White supremacy. There was no wolf there either. And so on and so on and so on, until eventually there is a case. A rare one-off case. But nobody believes him. Nobody believes the boy. Because he lied again and again and again. This is a story, the moral of the story, that you need to take into consideration. And I'm speaking to the talking head on MSNBC when I say that. And look, who would... This guy wants you to believe he is a consummate professional. Who would believe that? His reporting is slanted entirely in one direction. Pro-Democrat Party, anti-Republican Party. Simple as that.
22, the filibuster was used to kill an anti-lynching bill that would combat the Ku Klux Klan.
Lynching in the Ku Klux Klan. Things that don't happen anymore. Things that don't exist anymore. These people live in the past. These people, like anything, there's a supply and a demand, right? And with the modern left, which really they should be called the regressive left instead of the progressive left. They're not progressing into anything. They are regressing. They're talking about Jim Crow, lynching, and the Ku Klux Klan in slavery. It's the year 2021. But you wouldn't know it if you spoke to these guys. If you lived your life on a daily diet of MSNBC and CNN, you could be fooled for thinking it's the year 1899 or 1876 or whatever.
Infamous segregationist Senator Strom Thurmond filibustered for 24 hours straight to stall the Civil Rights Act in 1957.
So you see that they're using some of the worst examples. And they're doing this from history, mind you. You notice they're not giving you anything from the year 2005 or 2012 or whatnot. They're doing this because they know that the people that watch MSNBC are clearly very impressionable. They're clearly lacking in the critical thinking department. And they don't understand that they're being manipulated. This is what I said when it takes a very special type of person to work at MSNBC or CNN or ABC or NBC, because this guy knows he is manipulating people, right? He's using all the key buzzwords: white supremacy, slavery, lynching, Jim Crow, so on and so on, right? And now he's giving you some of the worst examples of the use of the filibuster, the two that he could find over a 200-year period. And he's doing this to manipulate you, the viewers of MSNBC, because he knows his viewers aren't going to think They're just going to see it and consume. Like zombies. Duh, duh, duh.
And a record-setting 60-day filibuster almost killed the Civil Rights Act of 1964. Of course, back then they had to actually do the talking. Actual historians, people that do study this, as opposed to Mitch McConnell, say the filibuster has been used to deny black rights for more than a century. Not exclusively, it's been used for other stuff, but that has been a...
Not exclusively. Of course not exclusively. Exclusively, right? And that's the end of the clip, by the way, but you know what? This guy, right? If you watch MSNBC and you think that this guy is giving you knowledge, if you think he's informing you about the world you live in today, man, I've got a bridge to sell you. Really, I have, right? So, to recap, the Democrats are trying to do away with the filibuster. In a minute, we're going to look at the definition of what the filibuster is. So, the Democrats decided to do this, okay? And as if, like clockwork, like magic, a coincidence, a mere coinciding, right? The mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC and the like, suddenly start producing en masse hit pieces against the filibuster. Oh, it's bad, slavery, Jim Crow, lynching, oh, slavery, you know, all of this stuff, anti-civil rights and so on and so on. And it's done, to use his words, to use as a cudgel against you. Because if you were to speak out in favour of keeping the filibuster, you must therefore, according to them, by definition, because we live in a world now where it's us or them. There's no middle ground anymore. That's the world the left wants. It's us or them. Very tribal. But if you're not with them in abolishing the filibuster, which is, according to him, designed to enthrall all of these evil things and evil people, then you're against them. That's their logic. Okay, so I've gone for Brookings.edu. I would advise all of you not to use Wikipedia for your definitions of things, especially if they are political. If they're not political, if they are science or sports or anything, you know, like mundane things, it should be okay. But Wikipedia has been weaponized. So that's just a warning for you guys, because there have been, quote, wars on Wikipedia where ideologues, usually from the left, will come in and take context out of certain things. If there was a hot button topic that's in the news, in mainstream media, if there is debate about what this thing is, where it comes from, so on and so on, the ideologues will go into Wikipedia to change and edit things, remove things or add things, and generally to take out the context. And their efforts in doing that might have made them feel comfortable. They might have thought, yeah, I got one over on them conservatives. But all it's done is make Wikipedia an untrustworthy source of information. But not exclusively. So Brookings.edu says that the Senate closure, which requires 60 members to end debate on most topics and move to a vote, could pose a steep barrier to any incoming president's policy agenda. Voices on both sides have called for reform in the face of partisan gridlock, and whilst changes may be possible that now Democrats control Congress and the White House, complicated dynamics in the Senate would make it an uphill battle. In other words, 60 votes are usually required to pass a particular thing. The reason why, quote, extended debate is often had is because issues, especially serious issues, require sometimes extended debate, especially when you're talking about things like, for example, the stimulus bills, in which we have pumped money into the system, and the majority of that never went to struggling families, the majority of that went to big business. Now, in order to just ram anything through that you like, the thing that they have to do is, of course, end the filibuster. Now, you see that the reasonings I've given you there has zero to do with white supremacy, slavery, Jim Crow, lynchings, the KKK, and so on and so on. Has nothing to do with any of that, does it? On the contrary, it has things to do with much more power-based reasons, such as needing a particular amount of votes to pass something, and the more radical a something is, the less likely it is to get the required votes. Hence, let's get rid of that filibuster. So you see why they're doing it. The Dems have a very radical plan moving forward for the United States, and to pass a lot of what they want to pass, they are playing some very shady games, removing the filibuster. They're even trying to get I can't remember what state it was, it might have been Idaho or Ohio or one of those states. But the Democrats are even trying to get a democratically elected Republican candidate ousted and have a Democrat put in this person's place. Imagine if the Republicans did any of this. It's astounding, isn't it? Really, it's astounding what you can get away with so long as before your name, in brackets, there is a letter D. If there's a letter D in front of your name, you have carte blanche to do what you like, and you'll have the mainstream media and big tech there like a guardian angel with their arm around your shoulder. Anyway, I will leave it there. Let me know what you think about all of this. I would love to hear from you. Thank you very much for watching. If you haven't yet, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and share this video around. That only takes a few moments to do those things, and it really helps this small channel grow, and it would be nice to see our little community here grow. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.